Welcome back. In what will surely be good news for parents and students of polytechnics in the country, it appears a planned strike by the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics has been averted. This followed a meeting between officials of the union, the Minister of Education, Ibrahim Shekarau, and the House of Representatives Committee on Education. Speaking to journalists after the meeting, the Education Minister and the President of the Academic Union were optimistic that the issues that led to the planned strike, which was to commence on Wednesday the 25th, have been resolved.
We've reached some conclusion and the matter is over. We've had meeting with the ASUB leadership and we've reached very far-reaching understanding. And the conclusion, of course, is that there wouldn't be the expected strike. Out of the demands was that we withdraw the letter suspending the payment of the Qantas 15 salaries. You see, we're withdrawing that. We've already directed that the ministry. The letter had already been written, and we brought the strike to an end. And today, less than 48 hours to the deadline, we have succeeded in brokering peace. And I am sure there will be no anything like strike. We've arrived at a conclusion.
I cannot tell you whether the strike is suspended or not. What I've just said is that we have very firm assurances. It is the neck of the union that actually declared the strike. And once you have an ultimatum and you have discussions, then you must call NEC again to brief them so that they can take a decision on the strike. It's only NEC that has the constitutional power to say whether the strike is called off or suspended. But as far as we are concerned, we want to ride on the assurances that have been given by the Honorable Minister of Education and the House of Reps Committee on Education. And we want to ride on these assurances until we hold our next NEC in March. And up until then, I think that we will ask our members to continue to work.
The federal government has assured oil marketers that the payment of their 264 billion naira subsidy claims will be paid by the end of March. This assurance is coming on the heels of insinuations in some quarters of imminent petrol scarcity owing to the unpaid subsidy. The Executive Secretary of MOMAN, Mr. Bafemi Olawore, says that product lifting will resume following promises by the federal government that all outstanding amounts will be paid. Our energy correspondent, Olu Phillips, reports.
Nothing frets most motorists and Nigerians when they have to queue for PMS owing to product scarcity. That situation would have surfaced again this week over unpaid subsidy claims, but for the emergency meeting held 24 hours ago between Finance Minister and the major oil marketers. MOMAN's Group Executive Secretary tells us more from that meeting.
The minister met us yesterday and she actually promised and gave us a schedule of payment between now and the end of March, which to a very large extent was agreeable to our principals. We believe her, and we may only have cause not to believe her if at the end of March nothing happens. But we believe her, and so the product situation that was actually going to go down will have to pick up.
Putting the record straight, for the year 2013 and parts of 2014, the federal government paid a total of 345 billion naira for subsidy. The outstanding for 2014 and part of 2015 is put at 164 billion plus 100 billion extra in interest, bringing that to 264 billion total money owed major marketers for subsidy. By implications, commercial banks wouldn't issue new letters of credit, consequently impacting on product availability.
The unfortunate situation we found ourselves in was and is that once the exchange rate starts moving, especially the way it moved by 10, 20, 30, it will swallow all the advantages we would have derived from the fall in international prices if we had retained the exchange rate at 177 or 171.
In the final analysis, until government fully deregulates the downstream sector, the National Assembly passed into law the Petroleum Industry Bill, Nigeria will never harness the full cycle of our crude resource and ultimately petrodollar, whether price of crude falls or rises. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
The Niger Delta Development Commission, in partnership with the Shaw P, has designed a new scheme to empower more than 350 youths drawn from 9 states. The initiative, tagged Retail Empowerment App Program, equipped young men and women with the tools and resources they need to start thriving mobile phone recharge businesses. The scheme was launched in Port Harcourt, the River State capital.
350 young people gathered here are pulled from 9 states in the South-South region. They are fresh beneficiaries of another batch of the Niger Delta Development Commission Youth Empowerment Program. They are about to be equipped with all they need to run a successful telephone recharge card business. It was time for the speeches, and the Executive Director of Projects, NDDC, Engineer Toyo Omatsuli, leads the way. He explains what the Retail Empowerment App Program is all about.
The Fourth Governing Board of NDDC, we are collaborating with what Mr. President is doing at the federal level. Basically, the electronic VTU and mobile apps recharge card business is targeted at the poor men and women of the region, especially those residing in the rural areas.
According to Mr. Tayo Adigun, the program consultant, the recharge card business generates over 3 billion naira daily. He then shows the beneficiaries the starter packs they have been empowered with and how it works.
Each participant gets a phone with 50,000 naira credit in it. The 50,000 naira you get that you sell, you have a 6% interest that you make on the credit that you are selling.
It was time to present the beneficiaries with the starter packs, and some of them express how grateful they are to have a lifeline extended to them.
It will affect my life in a very big way because I'm into this business, but somehow financially problem have been trying me back. But with the help of this program and NDDC, I hope that I will improve in this business.
I've always had in mind of setting up something like this, but for the fact that there is no money to start the business, and now that the NDDC has set up the business for us, I'm very happy.
This initiative, no doubt, is expected to empower these young people to fend for themselves.
This is
First Bank. You first.
Joining us for business news on the news at 10, I am Gimba Umar. Nigeria's exchange rate continues to trade outside its target band of 200 basis points as benchmark crude oil prices seemingly stabilize around $60 per barrel. And as the central bank scraps its bi-weekly Dutch auction window, the interbank market remains the main option for transacting on the greenback. Finance experts believe that the money market is reacting to other factors beyond commodities markets. Our correspondent, Temple Asaju, reports.
In 4 months, the Naira has lost about 13% to the US dollar and having touched an all-time low of 206 Naira at the interbank market. The wide margin created by this foreign exchange rate has impacted negatively on the economy. The Naira crashed through a psychological level of 200 to the dollar in February. At the parallel market, it hit 218 Naira, prompting the central bank to scrap its retail and wholesale Dutch auction system window.
We are where we are right now in terms of the exchange rate of the Naira to the dollar because of one reason, because of the overdependence, because of the monoproduct economy that we have.
The effect of the politicking, the activities of people who are moving away money, who are not very certain of the outcome of the election, has its own pressure.
Crude oil prices have seemingly stabilized around $60 per barrel, yet the exchange rate continues to climb.
The crude oil system is a futures market mostly. The effect is not immediately felt. When it's felt, what happens is that people are taking position and causing it to move.
In as much as oil price remain volatile, in as much as oil price do not recover to the historical level of about $100 per barrel, we'll continue to see a hit on our external reserve.
With the high exchange rates, foreign investors have resorted to flight for safety as fund managers fear a spike in the inflation rate.
I expect that in a while, there will be some stability because now we have more or less one market, unlike before where you could take arbitrage advantage in the RD and come to play in the interbank.
We have an economy that is import dependent, and so what you have is you find a situation where cost of imports becomes more expensive, and the part of the cost will get transferred to final consumers, and so that on its own will fuel inflation.
Despite the likely negative impact of the high exchange rates on the macroeconomic variables, the markets appear open with high yields on bonds and positive buy sides for equities. Temple Ashaju, Channels Television News.
Well, there seems to be no slowing down on activities at the equities market as the benchmark index gains further by 1.18% for the 7th consecutive session. Emana Ambrose Amawe has the rest of the figures.
The equities markets continued the rally for the 7th consecutive session as the key benchmark indices closed 1.18% northward. Driven by the buy potential of major high-cap stocks, the all-share index rose to 30,145.60 and closed the market capitalization at 10.05 trillion naira. There were 35 gainers against 11 decliners, and Seplat took the lead by adding 14 naira 47 kobo. It is followed by Nestle and Chemical and Allied Products. On the decliners table, Total lost 3 naira 96 kobo, while Okomo Oil and International Breweries shed more than 4% of their share price. The volume boosters of the session include PZ, First Bank Nigeria Holdings, and Transcorp. At the sound of the gong, volume of shares traded came in at 277.36 million in 4,401 deals valued at 3.78 billion naira. And that's the stock market report today. I'm Emana Ambrose Amawe.
Now, Eurozone finance ministers have approved reform proposals presented by Greece as a condition for extending its bailout by 4 months. Well, the announcement follows a conference call between the Eurozone finance ministers where the proposal was adjudged a valid starting point. Well, Eurogroup says that it has agreed to begin national procedures for parliamentary votes in several states to endorse the deal. Other measures proposed by Greece include combating tax evasion and tackling the smuggling of fuel and tobacco. However, IMF's head, Christine Lagarde, has reportedly expressed reservations about some of the proposals. And that's how it's been on Business News, on the News at 10. I'm Gimba Omar. Very many thanks indeed for being part of it. Bimba will be back with the rest of the News at 10 as we leave you with global markets figures.
First Bank. You first.
Still ahead on the News at 10. FIFA Task Force recommends that the 2022 World Cup be played from late November to late December, sparking outrage from European football clubs. Please stay with us.